Hello, folks. Welcome to the Scumdogs Kennel. I'm your host, Chris Williams, and we're going to be looking at comic books and video games today. But first, while we wait for people to get into the chat, let's go and look at some of my artwork, huh? For my upcoming comic book, Scumdogs. Just a moment. Let me get it up here. Let's see. Take you. This right here. That here. Good. Let's see. All right. Just a moment. All right. This. And this up. Let's see here. Have a few pages. That's good. All right. All right. You should. Just a moment. You and you. All right. Let me go over and put this on share screen now. And just a moment. Let me get this up here as well. Here we are. Anyone watching us? Not just yet. But hey, we'll have a fun. I got a fun show planned. Let's see. All right, and you. Let's consider you as well. Let's go to this. First off, let's look at this. Here's the page that I used to help me design Hair Metal Doctor's face. You see Dr. Mindbender from G.I. Joe, Toe Cutter from Mad Max, and Ozzy Osbourne. I mixed their faces together and came up with these three faces. None of these are what actually Hair Metal Doctor looks like. Also, I did another one where in this page, I used to call him Death Metal Doctor before I renamed him Hair Metal Doctor. You see, these two faces I used really look like Ozzy Osbourne. He's basically the model, trying to get that right, and I did pretty good. All right, you see the faces I came up with. I gave him Ozzy Osbourne's glasses. You see him without his doctor's coat. Here's a couple of faces I used to design Miss Rusty Melon's face. And here you see the finished thing with the actual black and white line art for Miss Rusty Melon's. I love her face they did there. Let's go over here. Here we have Buick Starpoon. In fact, let me go get this up here. And stuff, you see his black and white artwork here. Now, I really did well coloring this page. Though maybe I could go back and maybe redo some of the background for it. At least in the second panel here. I mean, the other panels look pretty damn good, but when I compare it to my black and white artwork, it looks, well, so much cleaner. I know that if I get a professional colorist, it might even look better, but what I did coloring was damn good enough to be in a comic book. Maybe if I use some different colors, though. I really like all the line art, huh? All right, let's see. Let me enhance his face. You see his face looking great. You see him being chewed out by his Supreme Command, by Supreme. You see him being chewed out by Supreme Commander overall, Baby Fist. See his little baby hand there. All right. All right. See this. All right. See the Death Mug, Murder Mouth, and Sloppy coming out of a portal. All right. You really can tell when they're like this in the colored page. All right. Now, let's look at the first cover for the Scumdogs graphic novel. As I've said, I already have a couple of alternate covers designed and drawn. I'm going to use the hair metal pinup maybe as an alternate cover. I'll do a few more. You see Death Mug, the guy in purple here with the silver mask. Murder Mouth, the guy with who's blue with the top hat, and Sloppy behind him, the pink guy. You also have E.T. Allen and another guy. You see them chasing down the Snores, my parody version of the Smurfs. I keep saying that and stuff like that. And you see the background is all, you see the little cartoon sun in the background looking on dismayed. You see the cartoon hills. You see the little carrot houses the Snores live in. You see them running off. You see Death Mug reaching out. You see Sloppy. You see Murder Mouse. You see Death Mug reaching out. You see Death Mug reaching out, and you see Murder Mouth. You see Death Mug reaching out, and you see Murder Mouth just smiling. Sloppy is also smiling. All right. Let's look at this. Here's the black and white line art from some of the pages in the graphic novel. Let me go down here. All right. Where are you? Here it is. Comparing it, it's good, but it could be so much better. The line art looks better. This is one of my second attempts to color this page, so I might have to do it again. Right there and stuff. Let me go over here to the first page. Here we are. Here's the first page and the line art of it. It looks pretty good, but it has more definition for Akachi Jojo. You know, before he removes his skin, reveals himself to be who he really is. As you see that? Looks good. All right, let's see. Here he is. Akachi Jojo realizing and remembering who he really is. He removes his skin, revealing himself to be Death Mug. Right here. See this colored page version of it? Black and white. All right. Let's see. Yes, I have this page here. Where are you? Looks good. Looks very good. All right. Let's see this. Look at these faces, huh? The colored version just doesn't seem to have what it takes. I need to recolor it. I think we'll hire someone who's better at coloring. All right. See this page here. see this one right here and stuff. Looking good. Yeah, this page is, oops. Go up here. Let's see. And this page here, the line art looks very good. The colored version just seems a bit off, I think. You see the black and white, it looks more definition. Now, not all of it is bad. All right. You have this page here as well. Go back over here, though. You see him taking off his skin. All right, pretty good here. Oh, let me go back over. All right, you gotta love the panels. I did. Yeah, look at that face, huh? Looking very good. All right. You also have this page here with Papa Snore, my parody version of Papa Smurf. You also have this page here that I love as well. Look at that face on Buick Starpoon. Looks awesome. Yeah, Papa Snore basically has been, thrown into the mud. He gets out. He looks angry, as you can see. His snorlings ask him if he's all right, and then he curses to high heaven. Their archenemy, Gag the Hag, hears them cursing. And she says to herself, I hope something horrible happened to those dreadful snores. And we have the scumdogs continuing to run. We see Murdermouth looking at everything as they pass. Now, let's go over here a bit. This. Before I do anything else, we're at 12 minutes. Oh, we have someone watching the Scumdogs Kennel. Thank you for checking in. Enjoy the show. You see the pinup here. Let me get this up. It looks pretty good. What else? Let me get this page up. Here's another panel with Papa Snore. Doesn't he look funny? He doesn't look like someone. He looks pretty funny, huh? With that mustache of his, made from a carrot leaf. All right. Compare it to right here. Here he's angry. All right. And then we have this. But here's the black and white line art for Hair Metal Doctor. As I said, it looks good enough to be a cover. Especially colored. This will be on a T-shirt for you all to buy before the Scumdogs graphic novel comes out. I'll just have to do a little doing that. Now let's go down here. Here we have this. And now we have this over here. Here's the finished pinup for Miss Breasty Mullins. So like that looks pretty good. All right. All right, you see this and that and this stuff over here. Let's go back over here for a moment and see. We're at 14 minutes, maybe just another moment of looking at this. There are the faces again. Don't they look awesome? All right. All right, let's see. It's some other stuff. Look at this, pretty good. Let's go over here. Now, I love this Hair Metal Doctor pinup because it's just so good. You see him strumming his guitar. Well, and it looks so awesome. But also, I love the Breasty Melons pinup as well. It really looks good. She looks confident, doesn't she? Looks fun. Yeah. I love the pose as well, with her looking all cool and sexy. Looking very nice. Let's go over here. Now, let's go maybe this. Let's go and maybe over to Indiegogo now. Now, this ought to be fun. There's a lot of these comics are doing pretty well. Make sure I got this right. Get this up. I'm going to see if we have any new Indiegogos just for a second. Let's go over to Bounding into Comics before we come back to that. Cantero teases the Mandalorian's most Gideon's mysterious and dark, blah, blah, blah. HBO Max series about Gotham PD will explain how the city became corrupted and infested with criminals. Black Widow director teased that Florence Pugh Johnson, how annoying. YouTuber Arch Warhammer launches email campaign to Games Workshop to save Warhammer. Let's go take a look at this first. Esper hinted that his Star Wars character Moff Gideon, who played one of the major villains of the first season of The Mandalorian, is force sensitive. Spoke with Entertainment Tonight about his upcoming roles, Anton blah blah and Far Cry, but was also questioned about his role as in Far Cry, but was also questioned about his role as in The Mandalorian. In Entertainment Tonight's Ash asks Espercito, I have to know your reaction when you found out you were going to be wielding the dark saber and what it looks like on set, because it was one of the most badass shots I've ever seen. Yeah. Esperado, I have to say it's such an honor. Very few have wielded that saber. It's just really wonderful to be in the organic version of the story. Jon Favreau asked me to do it. I was head over heels. He mentioned that he had written it for me. Espercito continued. I went and started to look at old Moff's What's a Moff? I went back and I looked at Peter Cushing, who was Moff. What do they do? Who are they? And then was really present in conversations with John about his imperial status, his carryover from the Empire, how Moff's operating, and why possibly leaving room. It's always possible why he might be the Moff to take everything over. He elaborated, noting that he asked Favreau quite a few questions about the character and his role in the story. How does he know everything? There were a bunch of questions. Some of them got answered, and many of them not, because he's still trying to find that out. Espercito then provided a little bit more info about Moff Gideon, indicating he's not afraid to get down and dirty himself. So to be in the position of having that kind of regal, graceful power, but with this saber, which delineates a different part of me than any other character. He added, to have this saber means I can use it and I can do it my own dirty work, that I'm a fighter, that I'm a warrior, that's part of me. Espercito concluded the question, hinting that Moff Gideon might be a Force user, and even beyond this, he might be a fallen Jedi or possibly a descendant of Darth Vader. How is that possible? This guy's old. He's about the same age as Darth Vader, because this only comes out, maybe a year or so after the Empire fell. He explained also creates the possibility that he's one of the, or possibly has that, and to me he seems to like the idea of that. I don't see how it could be possible, because is he that fallen hero? Is he a descendant of Darth Vader? Who he is? Was he one who he knows all about everything, and you will have to wait to find out. He's actually pretty good with that Darksaber too, Esposito teased. Esposito also hinted that Moff Gideon will continue his pursuit of the Mandalorian, aka Din Djarin, the child, aka Baby Yoda, in season 2. He stated, don't let me catch you in season 2, but you never know. I just want to spend all my time with him as close as I will get, and believe me, I'm good at getting close. As a point of Star Wars lore, wielding the Darksaber does not mean you're Force sensitive. According to Finn Ra, the weapon was originally crafted by Tara Vizsla, the first Mandalorian to be inducted into the Jedi Order. Ra explains that after Vizsla passed away, the Darksaber was stored in a Jedi temple. However, he explains that members of the House of Vizsla stole the Darksaber and used it to unify the Mandalorians and ruled Mandalore with the blade. The weapon would eventually pop up during the Clone Wars in the possession of Vizsla, the leader of the Death Watch. He would use the blade to take control of Mandalore, but would shortly fall in battle to Maul. Maul would claim the weapon as his own, but soon after Maul assumed control of Mandalore, Darth Sidious arrived on the planet. Sidious defeated Maul and his brother Savage Opress in combat. He would kill Opress and imprison and torture Maul on Stergan Prime. Maul would eventually be freed by the Mandalorians he had appointed to be obliquely rule over the planet. Upon his rescue, Maul would be given the Darksaber after it had been recovered following his duel with Sidious. The weapon would eventually end up in the Nightsaber layer on Dathomir, where Sabine Wren recovered the blade. After recovering it, Kano Jarrus would train Sabine in the use of the weapon. She would eventually use the blade in battle to defeat Gar Saxon. However, she wouldn't hold on to the blade for long. She would gift it to Bo-Katan Kryze, the sister of the former leader of Mandalore, Duchess Cetrin. The blade eventually came into possession of Moff Gideon during the first season of The Mandalorian. While Maul is most definitely an adept in the Force, the blade has been wielded by those who are not trained in the ways of the Force, like Père Vizsla, Sabine Wren, and Bo-Katan Kryze. What do you make of it? Esposito teases about Moff Gideon. What kind of dark history do you think he has? All right. Let's see this. YouTuber Arch Warhammer called on his followers to launch an email campaign targeted at GameSpot to save Warhammer from political infiltration. Arch's call for an email campaign came after Warhammer community Twitter accounts shared a Warhammer is for Everyone message following weeks of protesting, rioting, and looting across the United States in the wake of the death of George. Yeah. The statement began one of the great powers of our hobby is its ability to bring people together in common cause to build bonds and friendship across divides. We believe in supporting a community united by shared values of mutual kindness and respect. It continued, our fantasy setting are grim and dark, but that is not a reflection of who we are and how we feel the real world should be. We will never accept or condone any form of prejudice, hatred, or abuse in our company or in the Warhammer hobby, it added. Is this for us or against us? Is this guy going to go woke? The letter then stated, we will continue to diversify, and it does! The cast of characters we portray through miniatures, and he's an idiot. Art and storytelling is for everyone. There's already representation. Warhammer is already diverse. And for another thing, everyone hates each other in this game. How can you find diversity in a game where everyone hates each other? The representation heroes they can relate to. And so everyone can find through miniatures, art, storytelling, blah, 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 blah. We don't want political infiltration into our hobbies, you stupid idiot. The statement concluded, if you feel the same way, wherever and whoever you are, we're glad you're part of the community. If not, you will not be. I'm sure our money will be missed by Warhammer. Blah, blah, blah. Arch issued his rallying calling YouTuber, where he began, we all knew this day was coming. It's sadly somewhat inevitable these days, is it not? Unfortunately, the infiltration, the subversion, and the politicization of hobbies has been a pretty damn common occurrence over the last while. He added, I predicted it, many of you have as well, and again, it was hardly a difficult prediction. We've seen it happen in video games, we've seen it happen in movies, we've seen it happen to Marvel, we've seen it happen to Star Wars, and now it's happening to this. Yes, it's happening to Warhammer. Arch then details there is one last shot to save Warhammer. He explains, I think we have one last chance to send a bit of warning shot across Games Workshop's bow to simply say, stay out of it, don't get involved, stay neutral, simply keep producing the universe and the miniatures that we all love, and we will all be happier for it. He continued, you don't have to get involved. We do not expect you as a common company to have a moral position in today's political issues. Political issues, all right. Oh, man. I can only hope that this, well, can I say, this is another hobby that just needs to be politicized, right? I mean, this is just going and views. I mean, this is just disappointing me. I do not want to see this. Let's see. Position on today's political issues. Keep politics where it belongs in the real world, and let us have our escapism. Let us have our Warhammer. Yep. Yep. He explains, I think we have one last chance. Let us have our Warhammers. Indeed. What we... I can't stress this enough that Arch here is right. All right. Arch then suggests an email campaign targeted at Games Workshop. He elaborates, and I so suggest an email campaign to Games Workshop because, believe you me, 5 emails is all about the same subject matter that will raise attention. 10 emails now, the alarm starts ringing. 1,000, they will notice, believe you me. Arch then explains he has shared a drafted email template for his followers to use to send to Games Workshop. It begins, Warhammer is for everyone. This statement was never in doubt in the Warhammer community. Warhammer Fantasy and 4OK have been played in stores and hobby rooms all across the globe by people of all races, religions, and we were all brought together by a common love for these deep, dark, and complex worlds. It subsumed our differences and united us with a common love for the game and the email continues, but then on June 5th, the Warhammer community team stated that we were wrong. For the first time ever, Warhammer was not for everyone. Warhammer chose to close its doors for some. For the first time ever, Warhammer chose to say, if you feel the same way, we are glad to have you. And if you don't, you will not be missed. For the first time ever, fans of Warhammer were attacked for their opinions. Even adds, the spell was broken and the community immediately descended into virtual and witch hunts. All a little over a month after this statement, the community has never been more fractured. It's never been more divided. And everyone is wondering who is up next. On the chopping block. The email concludes, it's time for Games Workshop to step up and say, Warhammer is for everyone. No, if you agree. No, you will not be missed. No. Yeah. No, if you agree. No, if you will. No, you will not be missed. No, if, no buts. Warhammer is for everyone, including people like me. Yep. While Arch encourages his followers to use the above email script, he does not note that they are free to change the text and send their own personalized emails as well. However, he does not to be respectful in the email. Yeah, he does note to be respectful in the email. Arch states, do bear in mind, however, that the people who will be the first are simply just the customers' support staff, normal people and women who are in no way involved in the decision-making process. These people have done nothing wrong, nor are they in a position to do anything honestly. So be nice, be polite, and treat them like human beings. He adds, the people up the letter, trust me, they will get the message regardless. After reading the letter, Arch states, I figure this would be nice fairly neutral, fairly soft word letter to send them. I designed this specifically for the purpose as well. I want this to be some of the thing that everyone can look to and go, you know, that this is fine. Warhammer is for everyone. Yep. And none of this, we will not be missed. Yeah, well, you'll certainly miss our money. Yeah. If they drive people away, they're just, Warhammer is already a kind of a small hobby. It's getting more popular. Just as it's getting more popular, they're trying to change it. Trying to change it just as the moment the hobby is getting more popular for everyone to get involved. Yes, I'm sure that will do so well for your bottom line in selling this game. Yeah. All right. Later, Arch states, this is the moment where we can have the most effect. Right now is where we can really be heard because, of course, Games Workshop has been doing a lot of really stupid shit, and you could have worded this a lot more harshly. He adds, but we can bring up quite a few things. The original Warhammer community team post, for example, it was very clear political. It had hid behind the statement that we can all agree with Warhammer is for everyone. That it starts laying out political points, finishing with, if you don't agree, well, then bye. I know. This is a very diverse message. It was obvious from Twitter's reaction. This is where it was immediately after this message came, the attack began. The witch hunt began. People started yelling at one another like practically never before, Arch explains. He also points that the recent release of the Indominus box set, Arch states, reports are starting to come out now as yet have confirmed that apparently many independent game stores and so on had ordered Indominus boxes and that those were canceled and that they informed them that they would only get a very limited number of boxes. He continued, Games Workshop then went on to sell the boxes themselves for a much greater profit. Not to mention this was a super hyped up thing. This was a big deal. Games Workshop knew it would be a big deal. And yet all of the boxes sold out in 7 or 10 minutes, a lot of them being sold to scrappers who then uploaded the box sets en masse to Amazon, eBay, and so it then right then and there for the price. Good God. I don't think that's going to work very much longer either. Arch then details why he believes this email campaign can be a success. The only way they will understand is to tell them. Companies are very weak to public pressure indeed. The far left has been using this for years, targeting advertisers and boycotting people trying to get them deplatformed because companies are cowardly. He continued, if you give them a boop on the snout, they will back down. 9 times they will back down. 9 times out of 10, they will back down. 9 times out of 10, they will go, yes, right, okay, or should I say, it says they will back down. 9 times out of 10, they will go, shit, right, okay, this doesn't seem to be working out for us. Let's back off. Let's evaluate this. Maybe we should consider not doing this. And the companies are already thinking that. They are doing these things because they believe them to be popular. Arch then expresses his belief that this email campaign will be effective. I do believe this has effect. You might ask, do you think an email campaign will do anything? They'll just ignore it. I don't think they will. And even if they do, they will hear about it. Yep. We'll just keep screaming. Eventually they'll have to do it because we pay them. He then encourages his followers to spread the email campaign to their friends and followers. Spread it around all you can. This is our best chance to stop this right now before it goes any further. If we do a good job now, the problem will be solved. We won't have to worry about this. We will not have to fight a war for the soul of our hobby. Like so many other hobbies, we will be able to avoid that for how long? Who knows? But it's worth a shot, at least in my opinion. He also notes that if Game Workshop does respond to the email to keep it sending, if they do not respond, they say in 10 days and send the email again. If they want to simply just share it, keep sending it. Keep sending it until you actually get a response. Yep. Arch concludes this can force Games Workshop to even make a statement no matter how mealy-mouthed or neutral. Anything we can get out of them right now will be evidence that they have heard us and they will probably comply. So get to it. Send it right then. Send as much as you can. So let's save our hobby right now. Yep. What do you think of this? Well, this is a good thing. I'm really happy. Now, let's go look at some other stuff. Let's go to VG 24/7. Let's see. Google Stadia is getting 20 new games. I think I need to go somewhere else. Let's go to We Got This Covered. Let's see this. She-Hulk will probably fight one of the Avengers in the MCU. Alien-like creatures discovered in Pacific Ocean look like E.T. Star Wars The Rise of Skywalker reveals unused double-decker Star Destroyer. Blah, blah, blah. Let's take a look at this. Let's see if anyone else watching us. Still got some stuff there. The deep sea hosts a myriad of strange life forms, shielded from both humans' interaction and the ecological developments of kilometers of water. By kilometers of water, or kilometers of water. Its organisms have developed into forms that can only be described as alien. Creatures like the anglerfish and the vampire squid are only the tip of the iceberg when it comes. The anglerfish and the vampire squid are only the tip of the iceberg when it comes to what the deep sea has to offer. Popularized by films like Finding Nemo, everyone is familiar with these real-life monsters. But the fact of the matter is the ocean houses much stranger inhabitants than these two animals. Take, for instance, the big-finned squid whose enormous tentacles dangle down from its tiny body at an unnatural 45-degree angle. It's often said that we know more about space than we know about the deep sea. It's true. Contrary to space, the deep sea is full of life, new forms of which are constantly being discovered. In fact, quite recently, scientists scavenging a particularly ancient and remote area of the Pacific Ocean discovered a new species of sea sponge, which the internet has since dubbed the ET sponge. As the name suggests, these creatures look suspiciously like the alien centerpiece of Steven Spielberg's infamous film E.T. the Extraterrestrial. The sponge is also called Advenia magnifia. Scientists resides on a prehistoric seafloor nearly 8,000 feet below the surface. As you can see above, the resemblance is twofold. The sponge's long, lengthy stalk resembles the infamous alien's thin neck, while its enlarged cream, complete with two openings, looks like a lot like E.T.'s big-eyed head. As SpongeBob SquarePants has helped to convince us, sponges are not plants but animals. Like coral reefs, their organic composition is fundamentally different from what we can classify as fauna. According to one researcher, these E.T. sponges play an important role in the ecosystems they reside in, as they provide structure in and around which other organisms live. But tell us, do you think they resemble the famous alien? Do you think they resemble the famous alien? They provide structure in and around which other organisms live in, but tell us, do you think they resemble the famous alien? All right. Look at this. Where else can we look at here? Let's see. Got this covered. Cinema Blend. Let me get here for a moment. This cinema. Maybe let's try Venture Beat. Unpacking AIs. Transform 2020. Unpacking AI's power and its controversies that transformed controversies. I don't like this. A reaction time by artificial intelligence is here because this looks kind of scary. No, I mean everyone drooling and looking at the artificial intelligence like slaves. This is kind of a scary picture here, don't you think, folks? All right, let's see. Let's take a quick look at this. I can't wait until Transform starts to it's our flagship event for enterprise decision makers to learn how to apply AI. One of our goals in VentureBeat is to create a new kind of town square for enterprise decision makers to learn about transformative technology and transact in the practice of AI. I'm kind of bored now. Maybe I just don't want to read this. Let's try maybe King Gamer, right? Okay. All right, let's see. Anything good here? 6 Fortnite beginners tips for Chapter 2, Season 3. 10 platformer series that deserve to make a return. You know, in this day and age, maybe they shouldn't make any bring these characters back because we don't want them going woke. For such a timeless and influential genre, it feels unjust that these 10 series haven't had the chance to prove their value to modern audiences. And please, the fans have been patiently waiting for a new entry after all these years, which feels like every platform series from our past is being brought back in some form or another. There are just as many that have been denied another chance. And as I said, I don't want to see these series destroyed. In case you didn't get the memo, old school platformers are making a comeback in a big way. Just a few years ago, Crash Bandicoot looked to be as under threat as the managed superheroes he's based on. But fast forward to 2020, he's had a stellar remake in his NSYNC original trilogy and Crash Team Racing. While the announcement is an official sequel, Crash Bandicoot 4, it's about time, has cemented his return to the gaming mainstream. Fellow old-timers in Spyro, Mega Man, and even Alex Kidd have been resurrected from their retro resting place to give modern systems with their timeless platform crews. So why are there still so many classic platformer series that haven't been brought back? All I'm saying is that if we get 2 new Bubsy games in the last 3 years, we deserve some new Gex. I'm fascinated by the franchise that has been left behind in this platformer renaissance we are living through. So I decided to compile a list of iconic platformers that need to make a return so we can jump, collect, and explore their vibrant worlds all over again. The only qualification is that these series can't have had a few mainline installments released in the last 10 years, which automatically just qualifies Sly Cooper. Without further ado, here are the games. Or maybe I should just like that. Yeah. What can I say? I don't want to see these games destroyed. So maybe they should stay in the. I don't want to. I want to see new games made, and I love these games, but I don't want to see them destroyed with woke politics. Let's see. Banjo-Kazooie. We've seen rare, well, maybe I'll go to Bonk first for reading there. Bonk. For you kids out there, Bonk was the mascot for NES's TurboGrafx 16, which was an early 90s console that competed against the SNES and Sega Genesis. And even though the system has never reached the heights of its contemporaries, the Bonk games have endured thanks to their enduring art style and unique concept of a chibi caveman headbutting his way through prehistoric worlds. After 5 games during the 16-bit era and some spin-offs in the early days of mobile phone gaming, Bonk was particularly gone extinct from any system under 15 years old. Part of the problem may be the IP is now owned by Konami, who have a hard time releasing anything from anywhere these days, let alone a semi-obscure mascot platformer starring an angry bald guy from the 90s. But Bonk's place in gaming history is too significant to see him fit away completely in a relevant remake of the vein of 2017's Wonder Boy. The Dragon Trap would give him the appreciation. Yeah, would give him the appreciation. Banjo-Kazooie. We've seen Rare flirt with the idea of bringing back the famous bear and bird duo with their inclusion as spiders in Super Smash Bros. Ultimate igniting hope for a new game in the series. Outside of the pair of classic N64 platformers, there's the feeling that Banjo-Kazooie still has plenty to offer. With its memorable brand of open-ended collection platforming design, this was a feeling supported by the overwhelming success of Yooka-Laylee's Kickstarter, which was successor to Banjo-Kazooie, carrying out much of the original development team. But a new Banjo-Kazooie game would really please the fans, especially since Microsoft have generally mishandled the beloved series with experience like 2008's Banjo-Kazooie's Nuts and Bolts, which many felt just lost the heart of what made the original game special. The Xbox Series X would certainly benefit from having a potential Banjo 3 as a game. Conquer. From Conker's Bad Fur Day. Yeah, Conker. No, I'm not counting 2016's Young Conker as a mainline game. Heck, it barely qualifies as a game in the first place. Rare developed one of the most idiosyncratic 3D platformers with Conker's Bad Fur Day in 2001, a game that has remained lodged in the memories of gamers, not just for its gameplay of music or level design, which were still all fantastic, but because of its wholly unique tone and writing for this usually family-friendly genre. The crash humor and irreverent characters were enough to make your grandparents blush and make your parents ask, are you old enough to be playing this? Hence why the series absolutely needs a return. It could be argued that poor Conker has been even more hard done by than Banjo-Kazooie. After Microsoft acquisition of Rare, the IP has been completely dried up during its Xbox years, which is a crying shame, as there's still a major push for more Conker from his loyal fan base, not to mention unashamed satirical comedy leaning towards an adult market, which would still be a breath of fresh air for the platforming genre. So let's give the king back his own crown and enjoy some more Conker craziness. Demon's Crest. Let's see, Gex first. Gex, oh Gex, how art thou so forgotten? The TV-loving one-liner cracking gecko hasn't seen a new game in his series for over 20 years, meaning a huge chunk of younger gamers would never have experienced the charming qualities that define Gex. Having levels set in parody worlds based on media properties like Star Wars and James Bond was a creative twist that made the series stand out in the flood of platformers in the early 3D era. and one only has to look at all the mainstream movies and TV series that have risen up in the last 2 decades to recognize all the great potential material that a new Gex could play around with. I'd do anything to see a Game of Thrones Gex. There was some hope back in 2015 when Square Enix's announcement that developers could pitch ideas based on original Eidos IPs, including Gex, but that was 5 years ago now, and we haven't heard a peep out of that promise since. There are literally millions of Gex fans still out there pining away for a fourth installment in this truly one-of-a-kind series. Make it happen, Square Enix. All right, let's go back up here. Croc. I had a friend ask me the other day, hey, do you remember that game from like 20 years ago with the cute crocodile? I almost fell out of my chair as he was the first person I ever met outside of the internet who had a faint memory of the 3D mascot platformer Croc Legend of the Gobos. Come out during the peak of the mascot platformer craze in the late 90s and tricked all the boxes associated with the genre, colorful visuals, upbeat music, and accessible controls. However, after receiving a sequel conveniently titled Croc 2, the series got swept away by the evolving gaming landscape, favoring more mature content, but little kids still need quality games to ease them into being gamers. This is where a new Croc game aimed at a younger market would be fantastic. Hopefully it won't go woke. And that's what my main problem is with this. Entry-level experience for kids to try out platformers before moving on to bigger and better things. Let's go to here. Jak and Daxter. Jak and Daxter currently sits in a weird place in Naughty Dog's storied history, as it isn't a continuing series in the same vein as Uncharted or The Last of Us, nor has it been the same elaborate celebrate revival as the... Oh, good Lord. Naughty Dog, who are making woke games, having Jak and Daxter. That's just bad. And let's see, that's the recent Crash Bandicoot remakes. This has left the series in a bizarre state of limbo where nobody really knows what to do with it. Part of the problem stems from what made the original Jak trilogy so unique. Yeah, what made it so unique. And if they were to get their hands on it again, most likely that uniqueness would still be gone because we'd get woke politics. Maybe they'd be gay because they're a duo after all, even though one of them is a freaking animal. Don't trust it. Remember, they're trying to go after other series like this and stuff, and doing stuff like making them woke. Part of the problem stems from what made the original Jak trilogy so unique. That each of the main installments made drastic changes in tone and design, especially between the first and second game. And with no new Jak game in over a decade, this leaves the question of how one would even bring back a series that is tied so hard to reinvent itself at every turn. For the record, I don't think Naughty Dog needs to or even should be responsible for more Jak and Daxter. They're well and truly moved on, and I don't think they've been interested in going back to this past. But that doesn't mean this historically important series needs to be put to bed either. For a 3D platformer, the Jak games have been some of the richest lore. Yeah, Naughty Dog shouldn't touch this series. Give it to someone else. In fact, sell it, because all your current games, especially, are basically bad. Well, except for some, I suppose. Well, no, I can't vote that. What they did recently to one of their game series, how woke it is. They should never touch Jak and Daxter again. Sell it to someone else. Lore and world building has some of the richest lore and world building out there. Not to mention a likable cast of characters whom so many of us spend our childhoods around. Naughty Dog may not need to create more Jak and Daxter, but we absolutely need more Jak and Daxter. All right, let's go back up here. I guess this is a problem. There's Gex. Let's try Demon's Crest. Demon's Crest may be the best Super Nintendo game you've never heard of. And if you have, then you know exactly why. Then you know exactly. You've never heard of it. And if you have, then you know exactly why I'm including it on this list. Developed by Capcom as a spin-off of their Ghosts and Goblins universe, Demon's Crest was a beautiful mix of action platforming, non-linear level selection, and complementary RPG elements. All of these mechanics and design choices were wrapped up in a gorgeous sprite work and a hunting soundtrack, which afforded the game one of the most tangible atmospheres. And then Capcom did literally nothing else with Demon's Crest in the 25 years since. The game was technically a follow-up to a pair of Gargoyle Quest games, but even as that series never made it past 8-bit systems in this modern age of 2D multivanias, dominating the digital market. A reboot of Demon's Crest in their style could still take it full advantage of the original game's exploitative flight mechanics and multi-use power-ups. And while we're at it, a new Ghosts and Goblins wouldn't do either amiss. Go amiss either, Capcom. Yeah, wouldn't be amiss either. All right, let's say Jumpin' Flash. Jumpin' Flash was a very early example of what's still a relatively uncharted subgenre. The first-person platformer released on the original PlayStation in 1996 with a sequel that came out the following year. Playing a platformer from this intimate perspective is still hard to come by in 2020. So once you look past games like Mirror's Edge, this means there's still an ample opportunity for the robotic rabbit to spring around modern systems. With modern technology, the rush of leaping to great heights from a first-person perspective could be made to feel even more exciting by turning the adrenaline inertia up. Jumping Flash was truly a revolutionary game for its time, and it's a shame that it never got mentioned nearly as much as it deserves. When the conversation of 3D pioneers in gaming gets brought up, that could all change with the series was given another chance to take off with the present-day audiences. Towards the end of Super Mega Drive's life, Sonic Team decided they wanted to make a new mascot platform different from the runaway success of the Sonic games. I've seen this guy. He's not all that great. Well, maybe he is. He's sort of generic. Let's take a look at Tomb, though. And finally, we have Tomb, which was only second series on this list to star a caveman, but also the second game on this list to have an exclamation mark in its tail. I guess platformers in the 90s just had a thing for excitement, and excitement was something Tomb was absolutely brimming with. This was an ambitious platform with complex levels filled with interesting quests, objectives, all blanketed in some of the most joyful presentation on the PS1. Tomb 2 opened up the levels even more and expanded the available powers that were on offer, leading to a small but promising series that looked to be going from strength to strength. And then, just like with all the other series discussed in this article, Tomb just stopped. No more games, no more promises, no more fun. So let's bring Tomb back and let it earn the exclamation mark all over again. There are obviously many other great platformer series that have deserved to be brought back in modern time systems, but believe these 10 stand out as in dire need of a second chance. I'm sure Crash Bandicoot fans would have felt pretty downtrodden with the state of their beloved series only a handful of years ago, so it's important to remain hopeful. A new send out the occasional polite tweet to publishers every now and then. After all, it can work for Bubsy, surely it can work for everyone. All right, that was. I hope. Yeah. But as I said, I'm just too worried that this series, all these series, would be ruined by woke politics. So now we looked at King Gamer. Let's go over to Disney Star Wars is dumb. All right. Could Disney sell Star Wars? That's what Disney Insider WDW Pro's latest information dump makes possible. It's true, especially COVID, as Disney still strapped for cash that summer of speculating that may have to sell assets, including ESPN, History Channel, Tron, or perhaps even Star Wars. The following was posted by Pro. Let me preface this post by saying I know much more than I'm going to say in this thread. That's just the way it was going to be in order to protect sources, prevent doxing, and keep jobs safe. Additionally, it lets those sharing info with me know that if something needs to be off the record, it will stay off the record. The Disney company is currently hurting for cash, and not by a little. The absolute destruction of the global film industry means that Disney is losing billions and using usual expectation movies with no certain end in sight. Mulan has been pushed to the end of August, but even that still seems optimistic, and likely box office revenue may be as low as 26%. But what could have been a burgeoning Cold War with China likewise makes promoting the film an uncertain formula. The MCU is currently benched. Live-action Star Wars is on pause. Indiana Jones 5 is more unlikely daily, and there's simply no good path forward outside of the animation studios furthering the death of income. Disneyland was prepped to reopen a great expanse only to be indefinitely postponed yet again. The money to reopen Walt Disney World has been immense, but with increasing COVID infections in Florida, it seems more and more likely that increased capacity will be a slow process, which means revenue for WDW will be lower than projected. When the rush was approved and all the parks were opened fast, according to this projects completing at WDW are substantial more than ever. In the past decade, conflict has been inside Disney's top levels, with some pushing for continued spending in new projects, such as Mountain reskinning, while others are extremely bearish with, Splash Mountain reskinning. They're trying to make it less racist, even though Splash Mountain is not racist. Are extremely bearish with a view that Disney should hold every possible dollar. It is from within this paradigm that Disney is now struggling with the public messaging, not matching internet capabilities. For example, Splash Mountain changes were announced with little design ready to implement, based off of a blue sky design that had a concept art package quickly produced for social media advertising. Just one problem. The actuaries were not approached, nor was budget forecast for the changes. In fact, you might say a rogue committee approved the decision without determining the cost of the feasibility. And then the company realizes the issue after public announcement. So what do we do? As of now, the plan is to quickly change the DLR version, where it is more likely to be received positively, then use Epcot CAPEX funds that would have been gone to Mary Poppins and J to change the superior DWD version. WDW version staying in 2022 or 2023. However, hopes that Disney can plus the attraction are difficult to materialize, with Imagineering already completely flummoxed. How they can possibly reskin many dozens of animatronics and a crown jewel attraction? One Imagineer was compared to Rithermine, Pirates of the Caribbean, to a Jungle Book ride. Yet more attractions are likely to be modified, budgets be damned. This was created friction even all the way to the Bobs, with Iger doing everything he can to save his legacy, while Chapek tries not to be the fall guy while looking at the company in dire financial straits, whereas Chapek wants to spend the capital necessary to retrofit him for a pandemic and then slowly open other parks as demand for money permitted. Iger overruled the plan and pushed for a full reopening to prevent Universal from getting the upper. Sorry, Universal is going to get the upper hand. Now the company is greater inner turmoil than at any point in the recent past. Spending is continuing in spite of depression-like revenue project for the remainder of the year. And often on new projects on social nature, changes are coming to a hall of presidents. Jungle Cruise, Country Bears, Pirates of the Caribbean, Carousel of Progress. This is coming from two factions of the company who share overlap. Other company fractions are scared. The company is stretched thin and needs to hold spinning as much as possible. Fear also exists. Then relations with China deteriorate. The company could lose both Shanghai and Hong Kong, not since World War has certainly been so high. The cost of maintaining parks during a pandemic are significantly higher, yet rising ticket prices is nearly impossible. Yeah, because you can't open the parks. Ha! So no one's going to spend any money anyway. And if you do try that, you're just going to lose money anyway, because no one's coming to your parks anyway, because they're dangerous places now. Going forward, what does this mean? Epcot changes are likely to be much less than originally planned. Epcot changes are likely to be much less than originally planned. Layoffs are coming. Announced additions are on very long timelines. Disney would have to close again. It would be devastating. Good. Well, Disney closing again is a certainty. OLC and Disney relations are strained. Expect that to manifest in visible ways. Every penny counts, and cost-cutting measures can be expected within 12 months. Chapek is the fall guy. Many are speculating Iger plans to use him as the scapegoat. 50th celebration is essentially canceled down to only things that cost little. No floats, no big additional info. This whole Splash Mountain thing was torpedoed by Tokyo Disney wanting to get completely away from Song. Disney wanted to get completely. Yeah, that's the thing. People like Splash Mountain, and Tokyo doesn't want to change Splash Mountain. People like the way it is. But OLC essentially told them to pound sand. That meant they're stuck in spending enormous money just to match the current quality and simultaneously not getting away from Song stuff. So the only gain they can get is tan. It might sell better than the souvenir. More posts. This whole Splash Mountain thing, it was torpedoed. Well, partially it's because they announced the damn thing, so they've gotten to do it. Then they either pull off and make people actually want the change. They either pull it off and make it not really, or people hate it and so much that they can just sit and differently in Florida. They done everything they can to get Tokyo on board, and since this is not happening, they're just stuck. And by the way, there's only one of the ways we can tell they don't have their act together. Especially when it's so racist. Why that will a Disney park continue to have it? If they had it pinned down and ready to go, that wouldn't. It's not racist. It's just a mountain. I said. This is so upsetting. I said Disney would reopen in September, original plan, then up to mid-July when Universal created a scramble. I said deep on government, and that looks correct. Rogue is that they bypass important steps, knowing that they are likely to be reprimanded and don't care about the consequences for Nuke. As for Nike, their stock cratered in April, and that has been trending downward ever since June. Their reliance on Chinese sweatshops isn't likely to yield. I know. They're just going to keep going down. I don't doubt a work committee may have a group move from financial design consideration, but they are clearly made the call. Hey, can I bring this up? Oh, I guess I can. I doubt it was a rogue committee. It may have been a group removed from the finance and design consideration, but they clearly had the authority to make the call. This sounds more like a complaint about not being consulted about change than a legitimate retelling of what happened. Bosses get to make calls, and if they do not have all the details figured out, when they are not responsible for figuring them out. Someone decided this was not a net positive change for the company. It was not a done on a whim. Seeing Nike, everyone expected they were doomed with their corporate decisions. This sales exploded. Please do start a political conversation about Nike. Yeah. See Nike, everyone expected that you were doomed. Right. Rogue in that they bypassed important steps, knowing that they are likely to be reprimanded and don't care about the consequences. As for Nike, their stock cratered in April and has been trending downward ever since. Their reliance on Chinese sweatshops is unlikely to yield long. Yeah, you can see that all companies are doing their best. Well, not their best. They're trying to basically worm their way out of what's happening. And as you can see, different company, Disney is basically, well, I suspect the friction has been there since Iger decided not to actually step away, but I do not see Iger needing to save his legacy. I do not see Iger needing to save his legacy. His legacy is going down. It's going to become crap. Splash Mountain. If that is what is being implied here, he might have felt the need to help the parks through the pandemic, but he had a chance to walk away without history's judgment. His legacy in the company they have made the company billions. Yeah, they've made the company billions, but they're failing. He's going to be remembered as the guy who destroyed Disney. His Disney Plus, his legacy may be expansion of the foreign parks build Wall Street like that. You're right. Most of the Iger's concern is his acquisitions not being seen as successes, and that's more likely to occur if their company is in poor financial stability with little to no revenue from those entities. Yep. His legacy may be expansion of the foreign parks. Wall Street does not love Iger because he overhauled DCA or kicked off the Epcot reboot. I will say that I always suspected Chadwick would be a traditional footnotes COO. What? You're right. Right. Most of this Iger's concern is his exercise not being seen as success, and that's more likely to occur if the company is in poor financial stability with little to no revenue from those entities. Yep. And I doubt they're going to get any more revenue, especially with them continuing with the trend of what they're doing. And now, Disney has problems. They have a rogue element in them that's basically trying to remodel things, so they're like getting rid of anything they perceive as racist, and they're basically not doing anything like thinking about how much this is going to cost them. Well, they can't even control their own people and trying to keep the woke people from destroying things and not realizing this would actually hurt the company by spending so much, trying to stop the people from spending so much money trying to remake an attraction, which will cost the company so much money. It's unbelievable. I am deeply skeptical of this repeated claim that Disney was caught off guard and overly concerned with Universal getting an upper hand. There was, and turns out, is tremendous downside risk to restarting too early. There was no real first mover advantage here for Disney. They were always going to get more media and PR scrutiny and reopening. It was always going to be a larger story if Offbeat started at Disney than Universal. I would even go so far as to argue that the share of local park attendees was pretty divided. Universal was not going to break away permanent market shares. Think about what we were when Universal announced. Now see that from Disney's point of view, that they're taking devastating losses by planning for a mid-August to early September reopen with a single park, and then phased push. Now their main rival has announced a total reopen in 2 weeks, with cases low in Florida. How were they going to justify shareholders losing billions while Universal ran the summer table? The quickest way they can possibly reopen from this point was mid-July, and that's exactly what they changed course to do. All right. Look at this. Looks pretty interesting, huh? Now, we're an hour and 5 minutes in, and can go down here a bit longer. And of course, I'm sure this doesn't make any things better. These streamers are at Disney World, visited first in aid last night for a cough, shortness of breath, and severe vomiting. We're back in Magic Kingdom today complaining of... Oh, boy. That looks bad for you. And apparently Disney or someone doesn't want this video to be seen, whatever it was. I doubt that. You can't just stop people from streaming stuff. The streamers got their tweet blocked. It must have been the backlash. For those asking the above, the tweet video clip are being held under a bad faith copyright strike by the streamer in question. Here's what it used to say. Visit first and last night, cough, shortness of breath. And here we have it. Severe vomiting, we're back in Magic Kingdom today complaining of sore throats. Does this come up? I guess it doesn't. Joe Russo focused on Luke Skywalker. This looks bad, huh? We still have a little more to read on this. You can see this. Some of these guys are trying to make excuses for Disney, and while others are pointing out that Disney is letting Universal get the upper hand on them, and Universal is going to do it. It's just no way they're not going to do it. I wonder if this pandemic thing probably. What can I say about this pandemic thing? I've heard of stories about it, so maybe I shouldn't go into it. But hey, look at this. With all that's happening, this is certainly something to be talking about, huh? What with Disney being such straits and basically worrying about their fortune. As I said, Disney is on shape. Disney, I have felt, is probably in a very bad place now and trying to do all they can to save themselves. And I don't think that this is just, they are just against the wall. They're basically struggling, really struggling. And that is something to be said. Now I could read a little more of this. Basically talking about news once in a while is a good thing. I can look at some more games and stuff in a moment, but we'll continue to talk about this. What can I say? Let's see this. Let's look at this now. If this helpful kill the ludicrous plan to retheme the classic e-ticket Splash Mountain, it will have a. If this helps kill off the ludicrous plan to retheme the classic, interesting here the thought of rush to change the original Disneyland first and perhaps keep WDWs. Well, practically it's because they announced the damn thing there, so they've got to do it. Then they're either pull it off and make people actually want that change in Orlando, or people hate it so much that they can just sit on it indefinitely in Florida. They've done everything they can to get Tokyo on board. I know Tokyo ain't doing it. Sorry, I'm going to take half of what you say as truth, even then it's with a grain of salt. After how badly inaccurate you were over the fact parks would be reopened, I've lost confidence in you as an insider, especially when you say biased things like the superior WDW version when it comes to Splash Mountain. The way Disney World is not the superior version. Disneyland is still better. I said Disney World would reopen in September, original plan, then updated it for to mid-July when the Universal created the scramble. I said not until November, depending on governor, and that still looks all right. Look at this. This certainly does look bad for Disney, doesn't it? Pro, can you answer any of these questions in reference to Splash Mountain? Unless of this, when you first off, when you say quickly what exactly do you mean? We're talking a couple of months. The company hasn't set a timeline, but based on what I've been told, I think they're looking for a 12-month window. The issue is that California's viral outbreaks cannot affect the plan. Another issue is that they have some scenes mapped out in concept, very little mapped out in any sort of CAD, and chunks of the attraction remain blank for what to do. This is further hampered by a budget that simply can't accommodate all the changes needed. Getting some of the necessary parts difficult short term due to supply chain issues, specifically electronics. Is the time frame for the actual construction supposed to be a far-reaching or a quick turnaround like Guardians? This will be determined by DDD and budgets and timing for fiscal calendar spinning. I don't know DLR's estimate downtime, but I was told WDW is a 14th-month job if rushed, because much of Splash Mountain takes place in an integrated structure opposed to a slow building. Interior demolitions will time-consuming. Time frame aligns with other insiders as well. It reference to change. I think this is the first time we've seen Pirates on this list. What are they thinking about changing? They've already changed a lot of what they've done with Pirates. More changes to that? Oh, Pirates was good already. Red satire, so I've been told for sure. They want to add female pirate animatronics, but again, there is no cash being opened for at this time. They already have female pirates there. Oh, and no one really likes them all that much. Not more of this crap to put that there, you jerks. What are they thinking about changing more of these what's going on in Disney? Mothball, COP, completely rescript Country Bears, redo Hall of Presidents, be witty and musical inclined, remove elements of Peter. Whoo! They want to get rid of. Oh, God. Let's see here. Disney really took out a lot of loans at the start, and this is their safe from Rickson for now, but there's an ocean between not bankrupt and bankruptcy isn't likely at this bull crap. Being closed through summer would have had them forced to restructure and selling some assets with this resort open, and they have a path towards stopping the billions. Not really. Not currently with what's happening outside of Disney World. Currently outside of Disney World with COVID and stuff like that. I don't see what they can do. Okay, this is all looking very bad for Disney, isn't it, folks? Wow. Let's go back over here for a bit. Let's see. Let's go over here. Let's see if there's anything good to look at. We're now in 12 minutes in. We don't have much time left. Oh, Black and White. Black and White Volume 1, Second Chance, 4 days left, 29,481. Oh, and we have Monster Matador, Tango the Matadors, 1. Let's take a look at this. 3,825. Fully funded. Let's take a look at this trailer.
Our first issue takes us to Puerto Barrios, Guatemala, where the monstrous Volagante and her brood have brought death and destruction upon its people. Now a ragtag group of locals have joined forces with the Monster Matador to take back their city. Will the combined forces be enough to end the terror of the Volagante? And when a second Monster Matador arrives on the scene, will it be his friend or foe? Find out in Monster Matador, Tango of the Matadors, #1.
Let me see this.
Will it be his friend or foe? Find out in Monster Matador, Tango of the Matadors, #1.
Oh, that looks cool. Let's see, in artwork. Wow. Nice. Ooh, very nice. Very nice. Looks very interesting. I like it. 3,825. Digital $5. Matador Fabio Lives cover 10 USD. Not bad. This looks pretty good. It just opened up. This gives me something to talk about here. Not bad. Anything else? Doesn't look like it. We found a new. Ooh, it looks X-Craft Mechanics 2. 58 days left. Second new X-Craft Mechanics, huh? Looks like a new book up. $25. One of 1,500.
I wonder what went wrong today, eh? Why do I feel like I linger between the words to say, to say the words to remember. And now we're here to take control over your body and over your soul. We're gonna take back everything and lose it all, lose it all.
Well, let's just head on for a bit further. All right, not bad, but this looks pretty good. Hexcraft Mechanics doing pretty good. I might have gone a bit. It's a new book, so go and back it. I just want to look at this other stuff. Anachronism graphic novel. Once Upon a Frame page trade. Anything else down here? Anything new? Come on, like that. Another case for the Littlest Umbrella has 8 hours left. Let's see. All right, let's go over here again. Let's look at this. Anachronism graphic novel. Art is not the best art, but let's see about this. Well, let me see that again. All right, it looks somewhat good. In 2014, I raised funds to produce a graphic novel called Anachronism. 2 years later, this work is done. I'm about to order books for those backers, but I'm giving one reporter a copy of Anachronism. The next time you can buy it, it will be from some other publisher. Anachronism is written by Marvelous Patrick. What is Anachronism about about a girl who does some science fiction stuff? All right. As I said, it's not bad. Not the best artwork I've seen. Looks somewhat good. All right. 32 hours left, huh? Now let's do this. Let's take a look at this. The artwork looks good. Let's take a look at this. This looks awesome. Partially based on Dante's Inferno with a bunch of freaks of nature. Cool. This is great. Now this is a trailer. Once Upon a Frame. This was a good trailer. Once Upon a Frame plan. Let's look at this trailer again just before I go. Once Upon a Frame plan. Let's see this again, huh? There was a page in apparently a bunch of guys with a frame who work a bunch of food creatures fight the devil. And this guy who goes around kicking ass in hell. Look at this. Oh. Honey, magic. I gotta go back with this. Everybody like that, he gets this, huh? Kind of like Dante's Inferno. If Dante's Inferno had hamburger, what did it say again? Yeah, the blah blah. Blah. This is great. All right. Once Upon a Frying Pan. That looks like a good book. Apparently a bunch of cartoon food people, like Master Shake and Shake from Aqua Teen Hunger Force, and this guy looks like he works at a restaurant. Go to hell and fight demons and stuff, or something like that. Looks like one hell of a good looking comic book. Now we're an hour and 20 minutes in, so I'm gonna go and do my usual spiel now. Remember, folks, go and subscribe to Stitched Together Picks. Stitched Together Picks is a YouTube channel that needs far more subscribers. It's hosted by the maniacal cinephile. You'll love his reviews of movies. It's just a great show. His reviews are funny as heck. Go and subscribe to Stitched Together Picks. Also, go and subscribe to Creepy Little Book. Creepy Little Book is like the Art Bell radio show. They talk about the weird and strange things that go on in the world. They live stream every night around 10 o'clock. And Creepy Little Book has a bunch of other guests he brings on his show constantly. You'll basically other famous YouTubers like Mecha Random 42, Tina, Fedorable the Horrible, and others. And Mecha Random 42. Yeah. That's Creepy Little Book. Go and subscribe to them. Also, go and subscribe to Robot Co-op. They're like Mystery Science Theater 3000. They do these live streams with these robot puppets, and they're funny as hell. They play these video games, and they use these puppets while playing them, and they're just fun as hell to watch them play these games and basically parody them. They're just great. Now, also, go and subscribe to my own YouTube channel. Read Comics, They're Bad for You. The there is misspelled THERE. Also, go and subscribe to my channels on Library and BitChute. They're both under the name Comic Freak. Remember, folks, I'll be back again tomorrow at 5 or 6 for another live stream. So be sure to come and see me then. I'm Chris Williams, and I'll see you all again tomorrow. Or should I say, yeah. Bye, folks.